The Maya were one of the most sophisticated civilizations of the ancient Americas. They inhabited a vast area that included present-day southeastern Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and parts of Honduras and El Salvador. Their history spans many centuries and was not linear. There was never a single compact Maya empire like the Inca one, but rather a constellation of city-states, dynasties, alliances, and wars, united by related languages, religion, writing, calendars, ritual practices, and an extraordinarily complex vision of the cosmos. The origins of Maya civilization are older than was believed until just a few years ago. A key discovery is the site of Aguada Sphinx in Tabasco, where LiDAR surveys and excavations revealed a gigantic monumental platform dated between 1000 and 800 BC. According to the study published in Nature, it is the oldest monumental construction so far known in the Maya area, and suggests that the earliest Maya communities were already capable of large collective works long before the flourishing of the famous classic cities. Over the centuries, the Maya developed monumental cities with pyramids, palaces, plazas, observatories, ball courts, and complex systems for water management and agriculture. Tikal, Calakmul, Palenque, Copan, Caracol, Uxmal, and later Chichen Itza are just some of the great centers that emerged from excavations and the jungle. The UNESCO sites of Palenque, Chichen Itza, and Calakmul still testify today to the scale of this civilization and the political, ritual, and scientific role of its cities. One of the aspects of the Maya that strikes us the most is their scientific intelligence. They had a complex hieroglyphic writing system, a mathematical system with positional notation and the use of zero, and a highly advanced calendrical and astronomical system. Their observations of the sky were not merely contemplative. They were used to organize ritual time, agriculture, the legitimacy of power, and public life. The Dresden Codex, one of the very few surviving Maya books, contains astronomical and calendrical tables that show precisely this fusion of science, religion, and politics.
Very few Maya codices survive because much of the indigenous manuscript tradition was destroyed during the colonial era. The Library of Congress notes that the Dresden Codex is the oldest and best preserved among the surviving Maya manuscripts, while other library sources refer to the few remaining Maya books, such as the Madrid Codex. This makes every surviving page an exceptional treasure for understanding astronomy, rituals, deities, cycles of time, and worldview.
But the Maya were not only astronomers and scribes, they were also great builders, farmers, and politicians. New technologies, especially LiDAR, are revolutionizing our image of their civilization. Recent studies and reports show that beneath the jungle were hidden urban networks far denser than expected. Raised roads, terraces, fortifications, reservoirs, residential districts, and entire cities unknown until recently. In 2024, for example, laser scans led to the location of a previously unknown Maya city in the forests of Mexico, reinforcing the idea that the Maya landscape was much more urbanized and organized than previously believed.
Excavations have yielded an enormous quantity of materials: stelae with dynastic texts, painted ceramics, funerary masks, jade objects, obsidian blades, murals, incense burners, ritual instruments, food remains, pollen, sediments, water infrastructure, and burials of elites and ordinary people. Each category of finds has helped to reconstruct not only kings and wars, but also daily life, diet, environment, diseases, and crises. A famous discovery in Guatemala in 2013, for example, was a huge intact Maya frieze, useful for clarifying political and symbolic dynamics of the 6th century AD. The legends and stories passed down from generation to generation are essential for understanding the Maya world. The most important text is the Popol Vuh, written in the Quiche language in the colonial period, but based on pre-Hispanic traditions.
It tells of the creation of the world, the failed attempts of the gods to create humanity, the birth of the people of maize, the genealogies of kings, and above all the adventures of the hero twins, central figures in Maya myth. It is not simply a collection of tales, it is a key to entering Maya cosmology, historical memory, and deep identity.
Among the most persistent images handed down by Maya art and tradition is that of the world tree, the quadrangular earth, the sacred directions, and the gods who govern the sky, rain, maize, death, and rebirth. The Madrid Codex, as described by the Library of Congress, shows precisely this conception of the world as an ordered and sacred space.
In other words, for the Maya, the cosmos was not a background, it was a living structure to be interpreted and negotiated with through rituals, calendars, and power. And then there is the great enigma: why did their world collapse? Here we must be very precise. There was no sudden and total disappearance of the entire Maya civilization. What historians often call the Maya collapse mainly concerns the decline of the great cities of the southern lowlands between about AD 790 and 900, when many stelae stopped being erected, large centers lost population, and entire political regions fragmented.
However, in the post-classic period, important Maya centers such as Chichen Itza and later Mayapan continued to exist up until the arrival of the Spanish.
The explanation most widely accepted today is not a single cause, but a combination of factors. Historical sources and modern studies point to an interplay of prolonged droughts, environmental stress, wars between city-states, demographic pressures, agricultural crises, and political instability.
Britannica specifically emphasizes the possible role of conflicts and land exhaustion, while more recent studies and science advances strengthen the link between multi-year droughts and socio-political upheavals in the Maya lowlands. Some archaeological discoveries have added striking details to this picture. At Tikal, geochemical and genetic analyses of sediments showed that two large central reservoirs, crucial during the dry season, were contaminated with mercury, phosphates, and toxic cyanobacteria.
In practice, part of the city's most important water supply may have become unsafe precisely during a phase of aridity and tension. The same researchers also identified at Tikal a water filtration system about 2,000 years old, proof of the extraordinary engineering ability of the Maya, but also of the fact that the water issue was vital and delicate. The issue of mercury pollution has also emerged strongly in recent years. Cinnabar, a red mercury-based pigment, was used in ritual, funerary, and decorative contexts. Recent studies show that mercury residues have been found at many Maya sites, a material legacy that today helps archaeologists understand symbolic practices, but also possible environmental and health consequences.
Not all sites followed the same trajectory. Some centers declined early, others endured longer, and others still were transformed. Chichen Itza, for example, became a major power in the post-classic period and shows how the Maya world did not collapse like a house of cards in a single moment, but reorganized itself into different, regional, and politically new forms.
Maya history is therefore less a story of disappearance and more one of long transformation, with enormous losses, but also surprising continuities.
When the Spanish finally arrived, they found Maya populations still alive, resilient, and organized. The conquest did not wipe out the entire Maya world in one stroke. It was long, fragmented, and different from region to region. Above all, it did not erase the Maya as a people. Even today, the Maya still live in the same historical regions. According to Britannica, at the beginning of the 21st century, about 30 Maya languages were spoken by more than 5 million people. Perhaps this is the most important and fascinating point. The mystery of the Maya lies not only in why some of their cities were abandoned, but in the fact that despite wars, ecological crises, invasions, colonization, and centuries of cultural violence, their world did not die completely.
It changed, fragmented, lost monuments, libraries, and kingdoms, but it continued to live on in languages, stories, rituals, communities, and memory. The jungle-covered ruins are spectacular, but even more impressive is the thought that behind those stones there is not a vanished civilization, but a civilization that left immense traces and living descendants.